Hi guys. All right guys. So welcome, welcome to Candid Conversations with Humbly Beautiful 2.2, 2.0. So, well, you probably wonder where did the 2.0 come from? Well, I used to have a YouTube channel a while ago where I used to do my blogging and reviews on certain products, mostly wigs or what have you, and talk about alopecia awareness and stuff like that. But I really got deeply involved with helping my daughter with her dance team that I didn't have time to keep up that channel. So I decided to come back, with being in the quarantine, being quarantined and trying to stay safe, being at home, you know, start getting bored. And so I decided to start back my channel. So I went to that channel to resuscitate, resuscitate, to bring it back alive. You know what I'm trying to say. But when I went to log in, it did not recognize my password. I know that was my password. Anywho, I tried to reset it. It wouldn't allow me to reset my password. I remember my email that was associated with it, but for whatever reason, it wouldn't allow me to log in. And then I tried to connect it to, I think it's what you can make a brand. You can make a brand account to an existing or new YouTube channel, and I still wasn't able to access my old account. Kind of sick behind it because before I kind of became MIA, I had like 5,000 and some subscribers. So I'm really basically going to have to start back over. And back when I was active on YouTube, it was a time where you could like inbox your subscribers, and your subscribers can inbox you. And even, you can have it set up where you have to be subscribed to leave messages in your inbox, or you can leave it open. And I left mine open publicly because I was doing, like I said, wig reviews. So different companies would contact me and reach out to me. So I left mine open. But unless I'm looking over it with the new, because at the time when I was on YouTube, it was, you can use any email address to log into to YouTube. Now, I mean, it's when Google or Gmail or whatever connected with YouTube, it's now you have to have an email with Gmail. I honestly do not like Gmail. I like uh, Yahoo. Gmail irks my nerves because sometimes I try to send pictures, it won't attach. It's just I don't like it. But anywho, so I had to start back over. So I'm kind of like don't have that many followers, and there's no way that I can contact my old followers. to let them know to switch over to this account. So at the end of this conversation, at the end of this candid conversation, I'm going to let you know how you can win some money to help me build my subscribers back up. I now have a Instagram account. It is Humbly Beautiful 2.0. My YouTube channel is Humbly Beautiful 2.0 because I used to have an old channel that was Humbly Beautiful, but again, like I said, I don't have access to it. So my new YouTube channel is Humbly Beautiful 2.0. My Instagram is Humbly Beautiful 2.0. And of course, you have came to my page, which is called I got it kind of long. Unapologetically me. I made this page back in 2017. I was 51 at that time, so it was like 3 years ago, I believe. I had just turned. It was the day after my 51st birthday. I was going through. Oh my God! I was going through a really, really, really hard time. I didn't know what I was going through, didn't know what was going on with me. I had no idea that I was depressed, but I knew that I wanted to have a way where I could express my thoughts privately. So that page, I made that page and didn't invite anybody to the page. So I would I would either comment my thoughts or I would video my thoughts. And I kept that private up until very recently, I decided to go ahead and invite people to this page and make it where it was accessible for a lot of people to see it. This page for me has been my refuge on my way of coming out of that deep depression. Not just that page alone didn't help. I had to do some counseling, even had to take some medication. And that's another subject that I could talk to you guys more in detail at a later time. But that is how this page was born. When at that time I was trying to convince myself that yes, I had flaws. Yes, I was imperfect, but I was still a beautiful person. Although I was trying to convince myself of those things mentally, emotionally, I did not feel those things. So that was just a way for me to just just a moment, guys. Give me a glass of wine. I'm having 7 daughters. If you don't know anything, it's a Moscato. It's one of the best lines of Moscatos out there. In my opinion, anyways, it's not a cheap bottle of wine. You're not gonna get it for like $8-9. Well, the store that I bought it from was $12. Typically, I don't buy it. To be honest with you, typically I go to my sister's house because she keeps it. She keeps this, but I decided to buy me a couple of bottles myself because again, we're in quarantine. And can't go to the bar to get anything. At least I'm not. I know some of the bars are open now, but I'm not trying to go to the bars. I think there's a couple of clubs open now. It's so good. I'm not trying to go into those, So let me give you a little background about myself in case you don't know. You just come across this video. I am going to be, God willing, I will be 54, 55. I quit counting. I think 54. My birthday, July 22nd of this year, God willing. I grew up in a rural town, Wilmer. Grew up in a little small town of Wilmer, Arkansas. I did. I grew up there. I have a really, really healthy, fun childhood. I was kind of awkward though, because I was tall, very skinny, really, really, really long hair. Again, I have another story to tell you about that because I don't have that hair anymore because alopecia robbed it from me when I was 26. But we'll talk about that another time because the topic at hand tonight is about absentee fathers and dating over 40. I think I'm going to talk about absentee fathers first because that was on my spirit, and as well as just thinking about dating over 40 because, honey, I need some tips myself, some advice. I'm at a place now where I am ready to receive love. I am ready to date. However, I'm so rusty, I don't even know how to begin. But I do know that I know what I want, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So let me have a couple of sips of this wine. Let's see here. Trying to think, can I give me one quick moment, guys? I'm trying to see something. Since a lot of people really don't know about my page, although I have invited so a few people, I am going to see if I can share this. Okay. Go ahead and share this. So when let's do it like this page, sure. Okay. Okay, so this is what I'm getting ready to do. I think what I'm going to do is, I don't know, let me figure out how I'm gonna do this. Because I want to try to share this video. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can do what they call it. What they call that when you can share the video when you're going live. I don't know if I can do that. I'm trying to. What do you call it? Let's see. It's called. Y'all, give me a minute. I'm trying to do this. I'm really trying to do this. I guess I don't know how to do it. I was trying to, I guess I'm gonna have to share this after this video goes off. So, anywho, so we're gonna talk about absentee fathers. So, if we have time to talk about the other one, dating after 40, if we have time, we'll talk about that. If not, I'll talk about that on the next segment, which will be next Friday as well. But I was thinking about this, been on my mind, thinking about absentee fathers and how not being in your daughters, your little girls, a man not being in their daughter's life as a consistent figure can really, really affect that child for the rest of her entire life. Now, my dad, God rest his soul, my biological father, he was very present in our lives. He raised us. He was a good provider, all of that. If my daddy was alive now, I would like to think that we would be close. If he was here, I would like to think that we would be close. I had a hard time communicating when I was younger. I really couldn't communicate well my thoughts with him. I think he had a hard time understanding me. And I think I had a lot going on. I had a lot going on with me, which I didn't know how to express myself. So I think I acted out because I didn't know how to express myself. But I think I would like to think if he was living now that we would have that conversation. But I will say my dad was very instrumental in me learning. He was the first person. He was my first teacher. He taught me the alphabets. I never forget that, how he set me down and taught me how to read and all of that. My dad was that guy. My dad helped me learn long division, and I hated math. He taught me how to write perfectly because he was a real stickler about writing, making sure your R's look like R's and your M's look like M's and N's look like N's. He was adamant about that. My dad was a provider. Um, he could do things with his hand. He knew how to fix stuff. He was a mechanic. He was like my auntie's a renter husband because my daddy was always there for all of my aunties. Well liked guy in the community. Everybody loved them some Charles. They loved my daddy a lot, and he had that personality. And the whole community, I had to share my dad with the community because there was a lot of girls in my community who didn't have dads. So my dad was kind of like a surrogate dad to a lot of the people a lot of the younger kids in the community, girls and guys alike. Although um, my dad was all that, we were not as close as I would have wanted us to be. Um, and I can understand and I can relate as a mother now. I was the firstborn. I was his first child. I with my daughter, nobody, when you become a mom, you don't have a manual on how to become a mom. And you can't be the same mom to each child because each child is different. But being a first time parent, trying to parent a child can be challenging because you're still learning how to be a mom or a dad, to be a parent. I know this. I know this firsthand. And being a firstborn, being a first child, I can relate because we are held accountable for a lot. And always, you have to be like this because you're the oldest, blah, blah, blah. That's a lot of pressure on a young child and not understanding, but it is. So every mistake that you made as the oldest child, you got chastised and the hardest, because you are the first to be able to go through all of these experiences because you are the firstborn. So you're going to make the first mistake. You're going to keep on making these mistakes and so forth and so on. So although my dad was a very likable person, he was also no punk, and that was a part of me that was fearful of him because, again, I didn't know how to talk to him. He was a disciplinarian. He was well liked in the community, but everybody knew not to mess with his daughters, his family, because he didn't play. But other than that, he was a good guy. He was a man of God, all of that. And whereas my daughter, her dad was present in her life. However, he was not consistent. Now, when I say absentee fathers, I'm not strictly talking about men who have never been in a child life. I'm not talking about men necessarily talking about men who was never saw their child just completely walk away 100% with any type of responsibility. I'm also talking about men who says that they love their children, who without a doubt spend time with their children, and who truly love their kids, but they're inconsistent in being in their life, especially with these girls. You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent, because if you don't, what's going to happen is these girls are going to try to find that void that you left in their child's heart or spirit. They're going to try to find that in men. I know. I did that. My dad was very much present, but because we had that disconnect, I went amongst my young adult life trying to find love to replace it. And then God took him home for me when I was 16, So yeah, that hurt a lot. God took him home for me. And during the years when I was kind of like growing and developing to a woman, I needed him the most. And I think as I got older, I finally found the courage to talk, but God took him home. So I was able to have these conversations and tell my dad how I felt or how he made me feel at times. There was times that I would see him playing with my sister, talking to her, and just, and I used to remember being envious about that because I wanted to have those conversations. But then I'm thinking, well, I'm not the little girl no more. I'm not the baby. Then my brother came along. So it's just like for each sibling that comes along, being the oldest child, you start thinking and I'm speaking for myself, you start thinking that you're less loved. And I know that was not the case, but in my mind, that's what I thought. And I remember my dad telling me, I remember my dad grooming me to be a wife, grooming me to be the perfect wife or to be a good woman, to be a good wife. Okay. I don't remember my dad ever talking to me about being somebody in the corporate America or being, I don't remember if we had those conversations. I promise you, I don't remember them. But I remember him basically, trying to make sure that I was a great cook, that I ironed his clothes. I remember one time I used to be mad. I got mad. I had to, I'm not going to have time to talk about that second subject. I already can see that now. So maybe that'll be next week. But I remember one time my mom was in the house. My dad he was getting ready to go to work. He worked the graveyard shift at that time at this plant. He wanted me to make his lunch and iron his clothes. I used to be offended. I'm like, why can't I iron your clothes? You got a wife. This is what I'm thinking to myself. I wouldn't dare say it out loud, but I'm thinking to myself, you got a whole wife in there. Why I got to do this? But in his mind, he was prepping me to be a wife, to make sure that I cook, to make sure that I did, the things that groom you to be a housewife. And I did become pretty good at that. But he did not tell me, we never had those conversations of who is a good man for you. What is a good man? Although my daddy was that example of a good man, we never really had that conversation. He was that example for me. And I think that's why I've never really been attracted to bad boys, quote unquote bad boys. I remember one time this one female was telling me, she was telling me, you like them nerds. No, I was attracted to educated, stimulating brothers. I did. That's what I was very much attracted to that because my daddy was smart. My daddy was intelligent. So that's what I was looking for. And so when you have a child that has an absentee father, your daughter don't know what to look for in a man. They don't know, because if that man is not consistent, they can't see what type of man they are, and picking up your child and taking them to your house on the weekend, it's not enough for your child to get an idea of how her father is or what type of man their father is. Can't do that. And I know with my daughter, I had that conversation with her dad. And I told him he needed to be more consistent because at one point, when she was little, as she started getting older, I knew I moved here. I moved to closer to Little Rock, Arkansas at that time, because I knew my daughter was at an age where she was going to really lead her dad. And I remember he would come, to Monticello and at least once a month, and she would just she was just so tickled. Or he would come get her and keep her for like a week. I think he spent more time with her then than he did when I actually moved closer. But at that time, he was involved with a female who didn't really want his kids at her house. And there was a reason behind it, which I won't go into details. But there was a reason why she did not want them. So that made him even less present in my child's life. But by the time she started to become of teenage years, I remember reading her diary where she was really resentful towards her dad. She was upset at her dad because, there was a couple of times where he's supposed to be picking her up and he didn't. Fathers, you can't do that. You can't have your child looking out the window thinking you're coming and then you make up an excuse and say that you can come because X, Y, Z. You cannot do that to your daughters. You just cannot do that. But I think like I said, and I look at the direction that my child is in, which, she's grown now, but I look at her choices. And I think a lot of it stems for her not having that consistent male figure in her life to show her what kind of man she needs in her life. Yeah, her dad's a good guy. I wouldn't dog him out at all. He was a good guy. He was a good dad. I mean, he loved his kids, no doubt about it. But if he had been more of a consistent figure in her life, I honestly believe that her choices in men would be a whole lot better. I think it would be different. I really, really do. But I know personally for me, I look for what turns me on is a man that know how to use their hands, that knows how to fix cars, that know how to fix stuff around the house. Because I can do that myself. A lot of stuff I can do myself. I know about. I may not can fix it, but I definitely understand what's wrong with my car. You can't screw over me. If I think you're screwing over me, I'll call you out on it. But that is a turn on for me. But it's so hard to find because we got so many mama boys now, because a lot of women have to raise these boys, these young boys, to men by themselves. And they didn't have an example to be what a real man's supposed to be. Or teach them how to work on this. Or teach them how to do this. That's why we had a lot of men that don't know what the hell, that's why it's hard to find a great amount of men like that. That's what I went chasing for. That's what I was looking for. I wanted a man that was stimulating, fun, had a great personality, can work on cars, I found bits and pieces of a man, but if I can get a man that had all of those qualities, baby. But I did. I settled because I got tired of looking for the man that I really wanted, so I settled. Don't settle. Because at the end results, if you settle for a man, at the end results, it's not going to last because you're shortchanging yourself. You can't shortchange yourself and think you're going to get what you want. You have to be adamant of what you want, and if that's what you want, that's what you stand back for. Don't, because out of loneliness, decide to be, well, he's not really what I want, but I like this and that about him. You're not going to stay with that person long. It's not going to happen. So I want to say, if any man is watching this, you need to be, I know you love your little ones, I know you love your girls, but the time that you put in to be with your young man or whatever, playing football and having that bond with them, you need to make that same type of energy and show them. Take your daughters out on dates. Have these candid conversations with your daughters. Let them know what not and what to do and what not to do. And do not be, even if you're not that dude, even if you're not being, even if you know what you want for your daughter, you know what type of man you want for your daughter. Just make sure you don't show that side that you don't want for her in front of her. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not every man is ready to settle down. I get that. But don't be flaunting a whole bunch of different females around your daughter back and forth or whatever. What kind of example is that? Same for mothers. If you ain't found Mr. Right yet, don't flaunt every doggone temporary guy in front of your daughters. If you have not been with this guy for at least 6 months, they don't need to meet your kids, period. You can date them, go to their place, or they can come to your place. It ain't nothing wrong with getting your little coochie, go ahead and get it on served up. Let him serve you up, but make sure he's gone by the time your daughter's sons wake up. They don't need to see every guy that you're dating. You just don't do that. I didn't. But it is the absentee fathers. You have no idea how much of an effect it is when you're not consistently in that child life. I mean, you might not be able to see that. I don't care if you can't stand a baby mama, but some kind of way you got to make sure that you have a way that your child can see who you are as a man, not just as a dad, but they need to see who you are as a man, so they can pick that type of man when they start dating, when they start getting older. Anywho, I think my 30 minutes is up. Sorry I wasn't able to get to the conversation about dating over 40. That would be next week's segment. Thanks for tuning in to Humbly Beautiful Conversation, Candid Conversations with Humbly Beautiful. So, so for this contest, I'm gonna pull for $60 when I get at least 60 people. I'll get at least 60 people to like this video, to like this page, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Humbly Beautiful 2.0. Also, I need you to follow me on Instagram, Humbly Beautiful 2.0. When I get at least 60 new subscribers to my YouTube channel and 60 new followers on my Instagram page, once I get that, once I've hit at least 60 people, I'm going to come back on my page and I am going to do the drawing live for the $60. So what's going to happen is I'm going to draw all of the 60 new people from my YouTube channel. I'm going to put them in a separate drawing. I'm going to draw for $20. I'm going to draw again for those first 60 new followers on my Instagram page. I'm going to draw for $20 from that. And then my 60 new likes on this page, I'm going to pull from that. So you have 3 chances to win. If you can't win $60, you got at least 1 chance to win $20. So again, the rules to this contest: like this video that I'm on right now, like my page right here, this page that you're looking at right now, like it. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, and go to my Instagram page and follow. It's that simple. Once I get 60 new followers, I'm gonna do that, because every time I have 60 new likes, new to this page, 60 new subscribers, 60 new followers, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do giveaway $60 each time, up until I get my original amount of followers back that I had before I had to start this new channel. So when I hit 5,000, that's when I'm gonna stop giving away $60. Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, you do not have to be perfect to be awesome. Bye. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Satisfied.